Luke walked down the long, polished hallway of his mansion, his shoes tapping against the marble floors in a steady rhythm. He moved with the confidence of a man who had everything: money, power, and influence. His sharp eyes flicked around the room, but his mind was elsewhere, lost in the monotonous routine of success. His assistant had mentioned a new servant today, but Luke hardly noticed. To him, staff came and went like the ticking of the clock, maintaining the machine that was his life. Patrick, the new hire, entered through the grand doors with a slow, measured step. His eyes widened slightly as he took in the vastness of the mansion, its chandeliers shimmering above him like stars in a night sky. His fingers brushed against the worn necklace around his neck, a simple reminder of home, a far cry from the luxury that surrounded him. He straightened his back and let his gaze sweep over the space, though he remained calm, his expression unreadable. The staff greeted Patrick, their voices blending into the quiet hum of the house. Patrick nodded in return, silent but alert, his hands settling into the familiar routine of work. He moved with purpose, each step purposeful, as though he had done this 1,000 times before. Cleaning, polishing, maintaining order, it was what he was good at, and he wore his professionalism like armor. Later that day, as Luke strolled toward his study, he caught sight of Patrick, who was polishing the floors near the entrance. The gleam of the marble caught the light, but it wasn't the floor that held Luke's attention. There was something different about this man, something steady, unfazed by the grandeur around him. Luke's eyes narrowed, his attention drawn to a necklace that glinted against Patrick's chest. The simple necklace hung there, old and worn, yet it stood out amidst the splendor of the mansion. Luke stopped. His brow furrowed, and he stared at the necklace with a sense of familiarity he couldn't shake. That necklace, Luke's voice was low but firm. Where did you get it? Patrick froze for a moment, glancing up from his task. His hand brushed the necklace almost protectively as he stood, his posture respectful. It was my grandfather's, sir. It's been in my family for a long time. Luke's eyes locked onto the necklace, his mind racing. He stepped closer, his breath catching in his throat. The markings, the craftsmanship, it was something he had seen before. But how? Memories that he had buried deep began to surface, moments from a life before wealth and success. Let me see it, Luke said, his voice quieter now, almost hesitant. Patrick hesitated, his fingers lingering on the chain, but he removed the necklace and handed it over. Luke's hands shook slightly as he took the necklace. He turned it over, tracing the delicate engravings on the back. The same pattern. The same necklace. It couldn't be, and yet here it was, a piece of his past, staring him in the face. Luke's chest tightened. His father's necklace. The man who had struggled to keep their family afloat. How had it ended up here, with this stranger standing in his home? Luke's fingers trembled as he handed the necklace back to Patrick, his voice barely audible. This belonged to my father. Luke stood frozen, his eyes locked on the necklace dangling between Patrick's fingers. A chill crawled up his spine. The necklace shimmered under the soft glow of the study lamp, the same intricate design that had once adorned his father's neck, a piece of their family legacy lost in a moment of desperation. He swallowed hard, forcing his voice to remain steady, though it trembled with something deeper. Where exactly did your grandfather get this necklace? His words cut through the air, thick with memories he had long buried. Patrick shifted uneasily, his fingers closing over the necklace as if it were any other trinket, unaware of the storm brewing in Luke's mind. I'm not sure, sir, Patrick answered, his brows knitting together. My grandfather always said it was passed down from his father, but that's all I know. Luke's chest tightened, his mind racing back to those desperate days. The necklace had been sold, his father's pride and joy, sacrificed in the family's darkest hour. For 15 years, Luke had resigned himself to the idea that it was gone, a relic of a life they could never reclaim. And now, it hung innocently in the hands of his new servant, as if fate had chosen this moment to throw it back in his face. He didn't speak. Instead, he turned away, gesturing toward his study door. "Come with me." Patrick followed silently, his footsteps soft but hesitant as they crossed into the private space. The air between them was thick, the unspoken tension curling in every corner of the room. Luke had never allowed anyone from his staff to enter here, his sanctuary, a place where his mind was free from the burdens of his wealth. But today was different. They sat across from each other, the leather of Luke's chair creaking softly as he sank into it. His eyes were distant, but his voice was clear, steady, as he began to speak. He told Patrick about his father, the necklace, and how their family had been torn apart, forced to sell everything they had once cherished just to survive. Patrick listened, his face growing pale as the weight of the story settled over him. He held the necklace now, not with the careless ease of before, but with reverence, as though he could feel the years of struggle and sorrow embedded in its metal. "I never knew," Patrick whispered, looking down at the necklace in his hands as though it were no longer just an heirloom. This has been with me my whole life, and I had no idea." Luke's eyes softened, though the pain lingered in the creases of his face. "It's strange, isn't it? The way things come back to you when you least expect them." Patrick slowly handed the necklace back to Luke, but Luke hesitated, staring at it, before gently closing Patrick's hand over it again. "No," he said quietly. "Keep it. It's yours now, and it was meant to find its way to you." A silence fell over the room, the kind that speaks louder than words. Luke rose from his seat, his gaze lingering on Patrick for a moment longer before turning away. He didn't need to explain further, the necklace had done the talking for him. From that day on, the mansion felt different. The quiet, almost invisible line between master and servant blurred in a way neither man had anticipated. When Patrick passed through the halls, the necklace still around his neck, Luke would glance at it, sometimes with the faintest hint of a smile, other times with a distant look, as though piecing together fragments of a past that no longer hurt as deeply. And as Patrick continued his work, their brief, unspoken understanding grew. There was no need for words to acknowledge it anymore. The necklace had changed things between them, forever reminding them both that life connects people in ways that can't always be explained, sometimes through loss, sometimes through inheritance, and sometimes, in the most unexpected moments, through both. The lesson learned from this story is about the unexpected ways life can connect people, and how objects from the past can carry significance beyond their material value. For Luke, the necklace was a symbol of his family's struggles, their sacrifice, and the hardship they endured. Its reappearance through Patrick taught him that fate can sometimes bridge the gap between the past and the present, offering closure and reconciliation in ways that can't be predicted. Through this encounter, Luke learned that some things in life, like relationships and connections, are far more valuable than wealth. Even though he had accumulated power and success, it was the shared history with Patrick, brought to light by the necklace, that made him realize the true depth of life's meaning. This moment also emphasized that no matter how much someone tries to bury the past, it has a way of finding its way back, sometimes to heal old wounds. If this story resonated with you and you're looking for more uplifting and inspiring tales, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Together, let's explore stories that highlight the incredible strength of the human spirit and the blessings life brings. Thank you for being here, and I can't wait to share more with you in the next video. Stay positive and keep believing in the beauty of life.